We're going to show you how to install the rear sight blade on the Taurus Curve. I'm J. Dylan Proctor.
And I'm Derek Proctor.
And we're filming here in the Kingdom of the Logos studio.
And we're going to get right in it.
This Taurus Curve here already has the rear sight blade installed on it, so we're going to begin by removing it after we clear the firearm. You're going to take the magazine out. We're going to take our 2.5mm hex key, unbolt the M3 bolt at the back, the nut will fall out, and the sight blade will slip off. Now, this process is going to involve just a few simple things. Of course, there's going to be an 2.5mm hex key, there's going to be the rear sight blade itself, and then there's going to be an M3 nut and an M3 bolt. Now, to put the rear sight blade in, we simply slide it into the notch in the back of the slide. Shouldn't require a lot of force, it should slip right in, have a little bit of tension, but not much. Then we're going to take the M3 nut, and now this actually is beveled, and this is the trickiest part. You're going to lightly take the M3 nut with the beveled end facing towards the bottom and the front of the firearm, and we're going to set it on top of the sight blade, just sitting right in the back of the slide. You just want to set it right in there, and it's a tricky process, but you want the beveled end not touching the sight blade, but you want it towards the front of the firearm. Then we're going to take our M3 bolt, and we're going to slip it up in there and lightly turn to get it started in the nut. Now the nut will probably spin, and you want to spin it around so that beveled edge is facing down towards your finger. And then you place your finger right on the beveled spot on the nut, and you want to push on it and hold it in place while you tighten it down. And there you go. Now it is installed. Again, it is important that the beveled end faces down towards the bottom of the grip, and that's so that the hammer has a little extra room to rotate. It's a bit tricky to do this. I designed it myself, and I must confess it's a bit of a tricky process getting that nut on there, but once it's in, it should be good. So let's check everything out and make sure the trigger and hammer are working fine. Yep. Everything is great. And that is how you install the rear sight blade on the Taurus Curve.
Alright guys, so there it is. Pretty simple. Takes about a minute.
I will say, it is tricky though. The whole getting the nut to sit right on the back of the sight blade is the trickiest part. I know in that video we did it real quickly. It will probably fall out on you a couple of times. Just put it in there and spin it around. But the most important thing is to make sure that that nut is in the correct position. That's the most important part of this. The rest of it's fairly self-explanatory. But just making sure that that is facing towards the muzzle and then towards the bottom of the grip.
And that's the beveled end.
Yes, the beveled end. And again, you can put super glue on the nut if you want to. It's really not necessary. And the first time I put this together, I had put some on there. We probably shot 250 rounds before taking the sight back off to do other stuff like this video. And I've never really had any problems with it, with or without the super glue. I've put them on there within it. And without it, it's not a big deal either way.
Yeah. Again, just make sure your bevel is towards the muzzle and down towards the grip to give that hammer extra space.
Yeah, and one other thing is, of course, this is just a rear sight blade. It does work with the loaded chamber indicator on the front of the firearm to give you sort of a 3-blade picture. It's a bit weird because there's 2 in the front and 1 in the back. It's a bit bizarre, but again, it doesn't require any modification to the firearm. It's just a simple bolt-on operation, and it works pretty well. So that's pretty much wraps all of that up. And again, if I'm going to be here, I might as well do a bit of a shameless plug for where we're at. Of course, those who may follow us, I'm a reverend. The Church of the Nazarene takes quite a while to get there. But nonetheless, we do have a podcast and video series, Kingdom of the Logos, and this is our new studio. It's still under the process of being built. It takes a long time to get some of these things wrapped up. So if you're interested in following any of that stuff, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy firearms, you enjoy critical thinking, you enjoy these sort of things, you want to hear more, please check out our Kingdom of the Logos series with the 2 programs. We got Tools for Liberty and Midweek Liberty, the 2 programs we're putting out weekly. You can check us out on a lot of different places. But anyways, on that, we hope this is helpful, and have a blessed day.
Enjoy that new site.